Welcome. So, what if I told you that I could predict your exact future without ever glancing at your vision board, your daily calendar, or even checking your bank account? Sounds completely crazy, right? But imagine if I could map out exactly where your life is heading in just a few minutes, literally just by listening to you talk. I just listened to how you casually describe your marriage, your health, your money, even politics. It sounds like a massive claim, I know, but it actually hinges on one absolute fundamental truth we're unpacking today. So, can your future actually be predicted? The answer is a resounding 100% yes, and here's why. The casual, everyday words you use, they are never just harmless little descriptions of the world around you. Nope, they are the literal, audible expression of your consciousness. See, most of us walk around thinking our words are just, observing reality as it happens. But they aren't. Your words are actively revealing the deep beliefs, the raw emotions, and those hidden identity structures that you're using to unconsciously create your reality. Which brings us to a really crucial dynamic. Think of life as a literal mirror. That's it. Your bank account, it's a mirror. Your relationship, a mirror. Your career, just another mirror. They are all simply reflecting back the habituated everyday internal frequencies you carry around with you. So if you really want to know what your underlying consciousness looks like, you definitely don't need a mystic or a psychic. You just need to take a hard look at the reflection in the mirror of your daily life.
Okay, let's break down the actual mechanics here. What exactly is consciousness even made of? Well, it's basically the sum total of your beliefs, your thoughts, and your feelings. It's the literal electrical activity firing in your brain and the frequency held deep in your nervous system. You are vibing all the time. And here is the really hard truth we all have to swallow. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you consistently vibe. Your life is just a direct, physical representation of that exact frequency.
Now, you've probably heard about I am statements before, but let's actually ground this concept in a bit of history. This whole idea traces way back to the ancient story of Moses at the burning bush. Moses basically asks who he's talking to, and the response is Yahweh, which translates to I am that I am. It is the ultimate absolute declaration of self, the core of the soul, really. And that's why I am statements are so profoundly powerful on a psychological level. Every single time you use them, you are making an undeniable declaration of your identity. But here is exactly where we get ourselves into serious trouble. Think about it. How often do we just casually throw around negative I am statements? Oh, I'm so poor. I am incredibly unlucky. I am such an idiot. When you speak those words, you aren't just venting. You are writing a direct instruction manual for your subconscious mind. You're actively claiming an identity. And because reality is that mirror we talked about, that identity is absolutely going to picture itself out into your physical world. Every time you repeat it, it's a concrete vote for the reality you're forcing yourself to live in. You know what's truly psychologically dangerous about this? The actual audio of your own speech. Seriously, think about it. If some random person walks up to you on the street and calls you an idiot, you have a conscious defensive filter. You can just brush it off and reject it. But if you say out loud, I am an idiot, it completely bypasses that conscious filter. Why? Because you are hearing it in your own familiar voice. Your brain inherently accepts it as gospel truth, and it penetrates straight down into your deepest subconscious programming. So why put all this focus on our speech? Well, consider the number 60,000. That is roughly the number of rapid-fire, often totally chaotic thoughts we have every single day. They happen so insanely fast that you don't even notice most of them, kind of like how you don't notice every single heartbeat. Honestly, trying to monitor and trap 60,000 invisible thoughts, it's literally like trying to catch the wind with a butterfly net. It's just not going to happen. But you can notice what actually comes out of your mouth. Monitoring your speech is by far the most practical, realistic way to start editing your consciousness. All right, let's shift gears and look at how this builds into some hard neuroscience, because we really need to talk about the physical danger of our daily complaints. Complaining is not just a bad habit, it is a literal biological event. Chronic complaining actually elevates the stress hormone cortisol in your body. So when you wake up and groan, I have so much to do today, or this is going to be incredibly hard, you are actively, physically flooding your system with stress chemistry. And guys, it actually gets worse thanks to the terrifying reality of neuroplasticity. Every time you complain, you repeatedly fire up the brain's threat networks. And over time, your brain physically rewires itself. It strengthens those negative neural pathways, making your brain highly efficient at finding problems.
By complaining, you are physically shaping your brain to become addicted to stress and perceived threats. You literally train yourself to get better and better at finding things to be miserable about.
Then we have to add the social layer into the mix. Complaining is dangerously contagious. Often, we don't just complain to ourselves in a vacuum, right? We enroll a coworker or a friend or a spouse into our complaint. And when they agree with us, when we socialize those problems, we get a chemical reward, a literal dopamine hit of social validation. This shared negativity creates a sort of conditional addiction. We are basically getting high off of validating our own problems with other people. It's like the ultimate trauma bonding over a cup of coffee. And it's not even just complaints about the present moment. It's the stories we tell about our past. So many of us are living in a relentless Bill Murray Groundhog Day loop. We just constantly retell traumatic or stagnant stories, what our ex did to us, how hard we struggled growing up. Listen, the event is over, but by constantly telling the story in the present moment, you are keeping that old version of yourself alive. You're dragging yesterday into today, effectively trapping yourself in a loop that pretty much ensures your future is going to look exactly like your past. So how does materialization actually work? Well, up until the very moment you speak, your beliefs, your emotions, and those 60,000 random thoughts are entirely invisible. They're just vibrating frequencies. They haven't materialized into anything yet. But your speech? Your tongue serves as the crucial physical bridge to solidification. Speaking is the very first physical action you take. As Napoleon Hill once noted, thoughts are things, sure, but speech? Speech is a massive amplification that accelerates reality right into solid form. Which brings us to a really vital metaphysical distinction, one pointed out by influential teachers like Florence Scovel Shinn. It's the massive difference between wishing and deciding, between hoping and commanding. Saying something like, I hope someday I make money, well, that speaks from a place of deep lack. But an affirmation like, I am wealthy, is a firm decision. It speaks from a place of total completion. One is just a timid wish, the other is a firm, undeniable command to reality. To really wrap your head around this, just look at the very beginning of the Genesis narrative. The text doesn't say, gee, I hope there is light, or I would really, really like some light right now. No. It says, let there be light. It is an absolute authoritative command, and the immediate byproduct of that command, there was light. This just brilliantly illustrates the immediate declarative power of speaking reality into existence as a command, not a request. This principle of absolute certainty gets echoed over and over again. In the Gospel of Mark, Jesus tells his followers that if anyone tells a mountain to throw itself into the sea and does not doubt in his heart, it will be done. This is a direct invitation to command your reality without a single ounce of doubt vibrating in your nervous system. You aren't just casually broadcasting your thoughts. You are commanding the very fabric of your life. But here is the big catch. Mastering your output, meaning your speech, requires you to fiercely guard your inputs. We live in this crazy DoorDash, Amazon Prime, highly caffeinated culture that is constantly agitating our nervous systems. If you truly want to command your reality, you absolutely must step away from the endless news cycles, the doom scrolling on social media, the distractions, and the toxins. You have to actively support your nervous system by slowing things down. Otherwise, you'll just never have the mental clarity required to master your words. So, I've got a direct call to action for you today, a 7-day challenge. For the next week, I challenge you to completely stop trying to force your life to change. Seriously. Don't try to fix your finances. Don't try to fix your relationship. Just stop. All of it. Instead, for exactly 7 days, I just want you to listen. Pay hyper-focused attention to the words coming out of your own mouth. For this challenge, there are 4 specific things you must ruthlessly audit every single time you open your mouth. First, listen to every single I am statement you make. Second, catch every single complaint. Third, notice every excuse you manufacture. And fourth, spot every judgment you cast out there. Treat your words as a real-time window into your underlying blueprint, because every conversation you have this week, it's simply a dress rehearsal for your future. I want to leave you with this provocative final question, and I really want it to keep ringing in your ears. Right before you speak your very next sentence, I want you to pause just for a second and ask yourself, is this sentence just reinforcing the person I have always been, or is it actively expressing the person I want to become? Because every single word you say is a vote. Choose them wisely.